We greet our friend Little Johnny. And oh my, these guys have literally settled within centi-inches of our flamethrower's range, haven't they? Well, the nearby worm is of the medium variant, and the big worm is too far out, so we'll leave them be. If we clear this nest, the next settlement will soon replace them anyway, giving new chances to spawn annoying big worms in their attack without retaliation sweet spot. Bite Revolution is just 3% away from behemoths now though, and we're still nautical kilomiles away from having the required technologies to deal with them. Perhaps we should have gone with the efficiency module approach, but even more perhaps we should probably hurry up a little. Meanwhile, back at the main boss, we have run out of our red chips buffer to make things like beacons, modules, roboports. Anyway, did I mention it's easy to spot if you forgot to set up a buffer chest correctly? These oil refineries shouldn't be here. And when we go check, indeed we accidentally set the buffer chest to request chemical plants instead of oil refineries. Easy fix though. Soon the bots transfer the oil refineries to the now correctly set up buffer chests, and the general storage chests again contain only stuff we haven't set up buffer chests for. Now, while we do need red chips, that's gonna be an extra large setup. It's gonna be twice the size I laid out here, and we want to preserve the southern forests, so they have to wait a little more. The next block of intermediate is going to be all the oil related stuff, and the military one. We'll start with explosives, followed by both rocket types for a yet undisclosed purpose. Then sulfur and sulfuric acid, conveniently followed by batteries and eventually plastics, conveniently followed again by red chips. One and a half hour later and we are ready to switch all of those on. We managed to kinda follow the forest edge without destroying many trees. Nice. First we connect all the fluids, including the lubricant, which is now connected to the electric engines via the front door. That's operating smoothly. Sulfur requires only fluids, so that also has started up. That's one of the ingredients for explosives, and with water being connected, let's connect the coal. Nice! We then divert half of those explosives to our top secret military objective of explosive rockets. We need to supply iron and green chips to make normal rockets, while the explosive rockets just require more explosives, so that's easy enough. For now we will transform all normal rockets into the explosive ones. But in case we change our mind in the future, we could output normal rockets on the left side, leading to a separate set of buffer chests. Next we connect iron to make sulfuric acid. The first plant made a false start though, and it is cheating by requesting iron plates from the bots. There was no way to connect it to the iron in an acceptable, non-messy way. Anyway, you need almost 5 sulfur plants to supply 2 sulfuric acid plants, so we don't really need that one even. But man, a gap in the setup would look a lot worse than a single sneaky requester chest. Now the sulfuric acid is running, we connect copper and iron to make batteries. Very nice. Those batteries are delivered to the bot frames by yet another sneaky requester chest, which the keenest eyed of viewers probably already noticed when I set up the bot frames a while ago. Anyway, last in line is plastic, which outputs on 2 belts. But whoops, I messed up the belt side balancing. I'm not gonna refilm this whole 6-minute scene though, so while you stare with wonder and perhaps even a light fear to the fact that we've already used up 2 full million of our 3.5 million iron patch without any good replacement nearby, I've gone ahead and fixed the plastic mistake at the cost of one of the center beacons. And half an hour later we're ready to switch on the massive red chip build. And yes, technically there are 2 lanes of plastics on the main bus for about 10 meter yards or so. Only so I could stylishly connect it to the red chip setup. The red chip output belt will occupy the space of the bottom plastic belt going further. Anyway, you may have noticed we're out of beacons and productivity modules by now. So the moment the red chips start producing, they are immediately transferred to the manufacturing hub, to be divided over the many red chip staffed assemblers. Now we would like to prioritize beacon production, but can you even do prioritization with a logistics network? Well, kind of. The available red chips are divided equally-ish over all requester chests, so by just tripling the requester chests at the beacon, instead of only 1 share, they will now receive 3 shares out of the total production. We will never put complete trust in the bots though, we still remember what they did last summer. So we temporarily take control of allocating most red chips ourselves, through this for bots an accessible chest. With the increased power demand now and only 2 fuel cells per reactor left, it is finally time to bring a new batch of fuel to the reactor. I've done a couple more sulfuric acid barrel trips over the course of the last 10 hours, so meanwhile we have over 200 uranium-235 just from simple mining and centrifuging. Let's set aside 160 of them for starting up 4 simultaneous enrichment processes in the future. And convert the remaining 44 into fuel cells. That's still over twice as many fuel cells as the first fuel batch we took when building the nuclear reactor. That was on Factorio day 248, almost 16 hours of playtime ago. With all the speed beaconed, productivity enhanced assemblers and refineries though, we're running the reactor at about half capacity already. So we'll eat through these fuel cells at a much higher rate than before. Anyway, power crisis averted. Hey Johnny bro, how are you doing man? You know, it's quite amazing that despite wearing the Mark II power armor, we can still be killed fairly easy by one single worm of the very lowest weight class. I wonder if we can wear better armor still. Anyway, the oil refineries are chewing through our oil buffer at full speed now. And an unwelcome but familiar pattern starts to be visible on our iron belts. We can see a lot more belt surface than iron plates now, which is again very bad. We use some clever belt prioritizing to visualize we're down to just slightly more than 1 red belt of iron ore production now. Not good. So with the undoubtedly recognizable sensation of light panic setting in, we start to tone down some of our extravagantly large buffers, so these chests won't be filled up again as we hand distribute the excessive buffers to the green chip staffed red chip production facility. Off cam we also adjust some of the manufacturing hub's largest iron hoggers to lower levels. Let's try to conquer the panic by calmly standing around for a nice night cycle time lapse of our new main boss assembly area. All the while the nearby trees, once lush and green and full of life, slowly transform into pale, skinny skeletons of their former selves. And while you are weeping in sadness for the trees, I've quickly built the last missing main boss parts before we can start setting up signs again. Blue chips and low density structures. For these we're even using the Mark III assembly machines, so we can fit 4 productivity modules instead of just 2, as these elements start getting really expensive. Anyway, we have tailored the blue chip setup to be able to consume 2 full belts of green chips. Someday. Anyway, even though we won't be able to supply all of these for a long time, having all these assemblers still is very handy for hand-fed burst production when we quickly need a boost. Likewise, we build the low density structures to be able to someday consume 2 full copper belts. Hey, we haven't seen an attack in a long while now, have we? Let's look at one. Heh, hardly impressive. While some walls do break from time to time, those moments are far and few between. That will all change when evolution hits 90% though. Then the 10 times tougher behemoth biters will enter the scene. Anyway, not in the last place because of the incoming behemoth biter threat, it is the highest time to start thinking about signs again. After some awkward rerouting of belts, we fit the signs area in this nicely visible location. The signs packs will be delivered by bots once signs production is set up, but to demonstrate I've brought over the leftover signs packs from the old base. While I did plan for the buffer and production areas to be close by each other to reduce bot flight and recharge time, I didn't really have the labs or signs production planned out in advance. Very nice. We upgraded the red chip assembler to the Mark III as well for the extra productivity bonus. While they do use 3 times the power to operate, they actually produce slightly less pollution per minute, and much less pollution per item given their higher speed and extra productivity bonus. After that discovery, we upgrade the hard hitters of green chips and iron gears in the same way. I didn't plan ahead as space for the signs production, so I guess we'll fit it here under the iron mine. No, this is not a pre-made blueprint. I like to design stuff with ghost placements elsewhere in my base, where there is no Roboport coverage to build and deconstruct stuff while I tinker with the design before blueprinting it. For these requester chests we manually set the request amount to be 100 production cycles worth of materials. We used whatever modules we still had available, though we may upgrade some of those before starting research. With all the additions to the main boss though, we've gained theoretical access to all non-infinite tags by the way. A quick look around my base confirms we have enough of a resource problem that I decided to switch off the super expensive yellow and purple signs for now, and also strictly no research just yet, until we complete some productivity module trees for both the labs and the yellow and purple signs assemblers. not before long we can upgrade the science assemblers with the new modules, from 24% to a whopping 40% productivity bonus. Now we can allow these science productions again. Soon after, the labs are upgraded as well. And now we have theoretical access to all the non-infinite techs. What oh what will we choose first? Something exciting like artillery? Or plain old boring mining productivity or bot speed? What about Spidertron perhaps? Decisions, decisions.